All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Team Olympus video. Today, I'm with Nathan, and we are going to talk about the pros and cons, I guess. If I had someone like Nathan, what would I say to if they ask me what's the best TCG to get into? Pokemon. I know I say best TCG. There's other ones out there, but I'm doing the
Yeah.
three that we go over: Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic. I know there's no Magic videos yet. That's coming. I plan to do some commanders and some other videos. I play the ninjas for Magic. But let's get into, let me share my screen so that way you can see what, just made a little quick PowerPoint. Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me try. I'm trying to get into the thing. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So this is what it is basically. If I was trying to get a new player into TCG and they asked me questions about which one would I prefer, I just made a quick pros and cons. Unfortunately, the Yu-Gi-Oh players are probably not going to be happy, even though I will always say that it's good. I tell you, I like Yu-Gi-Oh, but I just don't have a lot of pros to Yu-Gi-Oh. So let's go into that one. Okay. So on the pro side for Yu-Gi-Oh, they have, I would say, the fun decks. They have a lot of decks to choose from. They have a lot of card
Yeah, they
types.
do.
They do. I actually like that. That's what makes it fun for me. For example, the ones that we get into when I was back in playing a lot. They had like the Power Ranger deck, but it was called Super Quad something. Jake knows it. But it was like Power Rangers, and it was based off of those. The Cosmos were based off of like Star Wars. We have other decks based off of things like Kaijus, the Kaijus that I run with my Gradles. Those are like based off of Godzilla and Kong and stuff like that. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Okay, I'm gonna show you the cards because you'll be able to see it's like based on the Godzilla type monsters or kaijus. They're
Okay.
just big monsters.
That are strong.
Another one is the not super samurai, samurai deck is cool. I like them. They have it's just a lot of fun decks, and I would say that Fluffles. You got like the little Fluffle animals that do a lot of damage. They got the Despots. I'm mentioning a lot of names that are a little old school, not old school, but old school. You got the Blue Eyes. You got Dark Magician. You got a lot of fun decks. I would say that's what I like
Yeah.
about the video. And if you watch the original anime, you got that off of like the Blue Eyes and the Dark Magician. So it makes you, oh, I got the deck and I want to play it. I think that's fun.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
just makes it better to play those decks.
Yeah, I know you haven't seen a lot of the decks, but you'll have to go
No.
through and look at some of the decks. But it's not like Magic. Magic's got a lot of decks that you could build and do, and they got some other types. But Yu-Gi-Oh has fun decks, and we'll walk you through some decks to look at. The other pro is Yu-Gi-Oh is challenging. I
It
like
is.
how it makes you think. Yu-Gi-Oh makes you really think because you have to play you have to play your hand and you got to play your opponent's hand, which is fun. I think it's like a game of chess. That's why I love about the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. It's like you're playing chess. When you see me take the monsters and we're sitting there thinking, because you watched Jake and I play for a while,
Yeah.
and it was a long game. I shortened down the video, but it was a long duel, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we played for a long time, but it's because I have to plan for everything that he's doing. He's got a plan for what I'm doing, and it is fun. You just can't react. You got to plan it. There's misplays. It kills me when I misplay, but it does happen. It's a challenge, and I love it.
Yeah.
And you'll see that when you start playing decks.
Yeah.
The next one would be some duels are fun. And what I mean by that is if you're not playing like a spam deck, you've seen the ones I played that just spam W the field.
Yeah.
That to me is not fun. But playing a duel where you go back and forth and it feels like you're actually playing the
And
game.
it makes it interesting instead of you just sitting there and seeing someone else keep doing those the spell cards and still waiting for your turn.
Right. And that's what makes it feel like you're playing the game. It's kind of like the Pokemon. You both have turns and you're both playing.
Yeah.
That's the fun duels to me. That's what I see. And that's what I like. There's some of them. If you play in the right locals, you play in the right matches, I would say in the TCG online, you can get those duels and then you'll love the game. It'll get you hooked. And that's why I got hooked. And I put this on there. The new SPS can bring back old decks. SPS is our system that we're designing, the Shadow Point system. I think that will bring back the old decks, and I'm hoping for that to come so that way we could all compete together. New, old, everything, every generation of the decks. I'm hoping could get back into it, and I don't want to take any deck out. That's what would destroy the fun for me. Because I want to be able to play the new age deck. I want to play Snake Eyes with older school deck and be able to compete. I don't want to do where you're just stuck to this old format where you can't cross a certain year, and I don't like that.
Yeah. Because
The other thing, go ahead.
They have all those new decks that have all those spell cards that don't allow you to do something, and the shadow points allow the old decks to be able to actually compete with the newer decks.
Yes, I think we got some of it solved, and we're going to test out some on the new decks, but I think we have it working. And I really hope so, because it'll bring back a lot of the fun duels. The other good thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is tournaments. Tournaments. You can go and play in tournaments at locals. You can play at the world tournaments. Going by my locals that we have around here, we don't really have a Magic tournament, you could say, and we don't have Pokemon tournaments. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the only one that you can go and play in a tournament and actually have to sit there and win your duels to progress. But the other ones are more come in and play and have fun. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is you sit there and you're in a tournament. And that's what I like about that, because I don't want to sit there. I like having fun, but I can have fun at anywhere I go to when I go in there. I don't want to go pay $5 and have fun. And that's what locals is around here. You pay $5, you can play Pokemon, you can play Magic, but you're playing for fun. And that's what it is. I like playing to win. Even if my deck is not great.
Yeah. No.
So here's the things that hurt Yu-Gi-Oh! I think, and the cons. Okay. So as you've seen the last video that we did together, the deck cost you around $800 to get in the meta game, and that's for Snake Eyes. I think the other one was like $600 to get into the next tier 1 of the meta game. That prices people out, and newcomers can't go and buy these decks, and they can't compete. Like you wouldn't be able to compete in this. You would get destroyed by these decks because you don't get a job, and I'm not paying for that deck for you.
Huh.
Okay. The next thing is hard to learn. It's hard to learn. You sitting around and watching Jake and I play, you can't grasp what we're doing. Even though we kind of dumb it down ourselves because we don't go into the link monsters and we don't do all this other stuff. We only go into a little bit of the game, and it's still hard for you to pick up on for right now.
Yeah.
And that's a pain for newer players. They see it as intimidating, but it's not. Once you start getting into it, you'll see that it's not that hard to learn, but it is intimidating to see. And you got to find the right people to teach you, or right YouTube videos teach you, which we'll probably do that. Next thing is meta is king. And what I mean by that is if you look at the tournaments for the YCS and stuff, there's like 3 top decks. And it's going to be the same ones over and over and over again. And it's hard to beat the meta that come out of it. And I know you're going to say that with every TCG that we're talking about has a meta. True. But if you're going up against these things, you don't have really a chance. And it kind of destroys the fun of playing. It's a pay to win type of thing. I know we're gamers, we're against that pay to win stuff, but it's kind of like pay to win. You got $800 you could pay, you could win over someone like, well, let's say you, who your parents aren't going to buy you the $800 deck,
No.
and you're kind of out of the tournaments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next one is we're in the era of spamming cards. And that's also hurting. That's what you said right there, where you're watching the other person play, where you don't get to play. You're watching
Yeah.
them more than you're playing. And that's what we're in right now. The era of spamming the card. Boom, 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 boom. It's a boring era. I think people like it. I don't hate them for liking it. It's just not my cup of tea for that one. And I don't hate them. It's fine for playing it because some people don't like the 2016 era, and I loved it. And I'd have been mad if they wanted to cancel it. So I can understand why they get mad if they think I want to cancel it, which I don't. Just want to make it where all the decks play. All right. The next thing, they don't have much to bring in new players. And what I mean by that is, what's the last, I would say cartoon, is anime. What's the last anime Yu-Gi-Oh you have seen?
The one from your 2016, right?
Not 2016. What do you mean 2016?
Like the what's it called? Where they have all those old cards.
Oh, that's from the early 2000s,
Yeah, 2000s.
not 2016. And that's the last one you know. And why do you know about that?
Because I
How did you find out about Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yugioh from you
That's it.
and from the show.
Show. But who showed you the show?
You.
Exactly. And since that, I know they have plenty of other Yu-Gi-Ohs, but not a lot come to the US. And they're not advertising or anything. And we'll get into the Pokemon thing, but I'll explain that a little bit later. But they're not bringing in new players.
No.
And there's nothing that is like attracting them to the things. I mean, they go to the card shop and they can see people playing it and they might ask, and that's when they get into it. Or you get into it for people like me who love the game and will bring you into it. But there's no like advertising for Yu-Gi-Oh. You go to the card shops, you might see it and you're wondering about it. Actually, I'm trying to think about it. If you go into the card shops, you really don't see it. You have to go to like a Target or something and they'll be in there. They're on a big display, Yu-Gi-Oh. But you could pass it up and not know the game. But that's it. They don't do anything to bring in new players, and I don't like that. I know they're developing another show, which hopefully that works.
Yeah,
We'll
hopefully.
see.
Because I don't know if you remember this, but we went to some place with Jake, me, you, and then Aaron, where we went to watch I think a Yu-Gi-Oh movie. Don't know if you
Yes,
remember
yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think
Shadows
that was
of Dimensions or Dimensions
last
of
one,
Chaos, something like that. Yeah.
last one that they ever made.
Yeah.
Just the movie.
So we did go watch that. And I think it's the Dimensions of Chaos. It's something. I forgot what it was. All right. Last thing that I hate the most, and this is what kills me and kills a lot of other players, is the ban list could cost you big time. It's a gamble. So you go and spend your money. Let's say you buy that $800 card deck, right?
Yeah.
And the ban list could drop. And now they ban your deck from that card. So now your deck is no longer viable. You just lost around your $800 because you got to go buy a new deck. At least in Magic and Pokemon, they have a rotation.
Yeah.
And you
Instead
know
of
what cards are going out. Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't know what's going out. You don't know what they're going to hit.
No.
It's a guessing game. And I hate that so much. It kills the game for me, I believe, for that ban list. I hate the ban list so much. I need to know what's getting banned. But they do it. Let's be honest. They're in it for the money and the control, the markets. And they will hit what's not making them money. And I always say that right before you can tell what's going to be banned because they will put that card that's like very expensive. They'll put it into a new deck coming out, not deck, new boosters coming out. Can't think of the thing off my head, but new boosters coming out. They'll reprint it. They'll bring it down to like $5 where you all buy it. And then as soon as everyone buys it, they ban it. So that way they got their last hurrah of money. So that's what I think. All right. I went over this. This could be a long video, so I'm not gonna do all of it. I'm gonna do it in parts. This is gonna be part one. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh one, right? I
Yes.
shouldn't do it in parts. I should keep doing it. I was gonna do it because otherwise, other players are not gonna know about the other card games. So I'm gonna keep going. All right, that's it for the Yu-Gi-Oh. Let's move on to Magic real quick. All right. So with Magic, like Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a lot of decks. They have a lot that's talking about. They have some ninjas, they got vampires, werewolves, you name it, they probably got it. They just got the cowboys and stuff, outlaws. I think it's pretty cool. They have a lot of decks, and you can go crazy. It's a fun game.
Yes.
They have a format for everyone. I'm gonna try to move a little fast. So if you want to chime in, chime in. Just interrupt
Okay.
me, okay? All right.
Okay.
So they have a format for everyone, and what I mean by format, they have your standard duels like Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh only has basically standard and a few others, a couple others, but it doesn't catch on like Magic. Magic has a standard. They have expanded. They got the popular commander. So they got a play style for you that you would like to play and have fun. They have it for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I just said right now, Commander is fun. I love playing Commander. It's a 4-person duel. We played at the table. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that was fun because
Play,
you could play
yeah,
with
that
your
was fun.
yes. You play with 4 friends, and you have one of card for 100 cards. It makes it fun. It's not bad. Magic is not hard to learn. You learned it.
First
Mom
day, I
learned it,
think.
and Aaron learned it within
Yeah. Day,
what,
right?
20
Day or
minutes?
two. Yeah.
Not a day or two. We learned it at the table. I had explained to you at the table what we could do, what we could not do, and you learned it quick.
Yeah.
We picked up, we played. It was fun. It's not hard to learn.
No.
I think call them duels. I'm gonna call everything duels, guys. I don't know. I'm telling you, I came from the land of Yu-Gi-Oh, so everything's a duel to me. The duels are fun in Magic and challenging, right?
Yeah.
Playing there, you have to make sure you think, especially in Commander, you got to play 3 other people's hands while you're playing yours. That's what makes it really fun and challenging. I like it. I love Commander a lot. You'll see. It makes me happy. Commander's fun. The cons. The decks could be a little pricey. Not as expensive as Yu-Gi-Oh, unless you go into some other formats you want to play. But like a standard expanded, you can Commander. There's not very much. I mean, you can buy a Commander ready deck where you just go and play and have some fun. You can pick that up for $30 maybe, and they're not too bad actually.
No.
There's a guy that does reviews on them on YouTube, and I watch him. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but some of the times the cards inside that deck are worth more than the $30 they're trying to price you at. The other flaw is there's not really any tournaments like I was talking about. Remember? There's not a lot of
Yeah.
tournaments. You go and play and you
No.
have fun. I haven't seen a Magic tournament in our locals.
No, not yet.
And huh?
Not yet. They'll eventually
Yeah,
have
not yet.
tournaments.
I hope so. I hope they do something, but I haven't seen any tournaments. The other thing for the con is it looks hard to learn, right?
Yeah.
Because when I was trying to show you guys at the table, oh, to be honest, mom always thinks everything's hard and she doesn't want to read.
Hmm.
You don't like to read, and Aaron doesn't like to read. So as soon as they see reading, they're like, yeah, my life's over.
But after you taught me the game, it's pretty fun. I almost won.
Yes. Yeah. But it looks more complicated than it is, and it's not. And that's what I keep hearing from people. Why don't you play it? Why don't you play it? Like, it looks hard. It looks like it has a lot of moving parts. It doesn't. It's not that hard to learn. It's actually fun. And once you learn, it'll take you like 20, 30 minutes to learn the game. It's fun. The
Yeah.
hardest thing is learning the cards to put into your deck. But that's with every game. All right.
Yeah.
That's with Magic. Let's move on to the last one.
Pokemon.
Pokemon. All right. With Pokemon, they have a lot of pros. I'm not gonna lie. So Pokemon is very easy to learn.
Yes, very easy.
Maybe 5-10 minutes. You could learn Pokemon in 5 to 10 minutes. The cards are easy, like they're easy read, right? I mean, they only have
Yeah.
1 or 2 things, and you have 2 moves, I think max.
Yeah.
The
they do.
trainers and items are good. Yeah, you and Aaron both learned that within like 10 minutes of just playing the online TCG, right?
Yeah, it's pretty easy and simple.
Yeah. And
And
the
if you,
deck cost.
yeah, the deck cost is cheaper than Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic.
Yeah. We built a Charizard for I think 60, $70. Charizard EX deck.
And the best
The
deck right
That's
now.
the meta deck. And we built that for 60, $70, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. The other thing is Pokemon always seems to have new players. Why do you
yeah,
think that is?
because it's easy to learn and
Uh-huh.
fun to get into, and easy to get into because of all the deck costs and everything, and just easy to learn than Magic
How
and Yu-Gi-Oh.
many shows have you watched of Pokemon?
Oh, I've watched a bunch of shows for Pokemon.
Hmm. How
There's
many
a,
games?
games. Oh, they
Yep.
keep bringing in more games. I've played a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of Pokemon games. Yu-Gi-Oh
What about toys
has.
at Target?
Oh, there's a lot of toys for Pokemon.
Uh-huh.
No
Do you
Yu-Gi-Oh
see where I'm
toys.
going?
Yeah,
Where am I going?
they make Pokemon fun and
No,
like
not fun. They make Pokemon
uh
everywhere.
yes.
Everywhere. And back it up to Magic for a second. Sorry. Magic is also, I don't know how they get all these players. I think it's the same thing that Yu-Gi-Oh does, where we have to word of mouth kind of stuff. Because I have never seen a Magic commercial,
No.
anything with Magic the Gathering, anything, to be honest with you. I've not seen one thing. It could be just where we live or whatever, but I've never seen anything to do with Magic, right?
Yeah, no, none.
You only know Magic because I brought Magic in. And I only know Magic because when I went to the card shops to play Yu-Gi-Oh, they were playing Magic.
Yeah,
Other than that, I didn't know about Magic. So that's also hurts Magic, but they're also the number one TCG. So they're doing something right with word of mouth. Okay. So anyway, back to Pokemon. Yes, Pokemon does everything. They promote everywhere. Everybody knows what Pokemon is at some point. You see them everywhere.
yeah,
Okay, let's go to the next one is fun to play. I guess I'm saying no. Fun to play. It is fun to play, right?
yeah, very fun.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
Mine a delay?
a little bit.
I don't know. All right. It's fun to play. Why is it fun to play?
It's easy to learn and doesn't have
But
uh what?
but what makes it fun? Why do you have fun playing Pokemon?
Because there's no like spell cards, and you both take turns, and easy to get into, and a bunch of fun decks to play.
Yes. Okay, next one would be challenging to play. Do you think it's a challenge? Do you think it takes skill to play this game?
Yeah, because you had to know what you're doing before your opponent does, even though there's no spell cards or anything. But your opponent's cards can do something to you, like the Gengar deck, where his card, if you damage him or damage a card, and he has like an energy on there or something, or no, attaches an energy to a card, they do some type of damage to that card.
So you have to play around the opponent's deck too.
Yeah,
You have to make sure what he's doing, and then you got to try to maybe do a boss's order to get this Pokemon in, so that way you can knock it out.
yeah, exactly.
So it's challenging, right? It's fun to play. It makes you think.
Yeah,
Okay. They also have different formats. Kind of the same thing with Magic, where I believe they have the expanded, they got the standard. I think they have one or two more. They have no commander. That'd be actually cool. That would actually be pretty cool. See how that works. I don't know how that works, but I'm sure you could probably do it like a commander. But they have formats for you to play, and it's fun. And even in standard is still fun to play, and everybody can get into it and go in, do some damage with your favorite Pokemon deck. They seem to do that. I like the rotations. The cons. Here are the cons. And this is true. This is what I see all the time. It's seen as a kid's game, right? When you go to the locals, you got a lot of younger kids. Example, Nathan right here. You haven't seen Aaron, but Aaron plays it too. But they're both little kids. And this is like the gateway to the TCG games. Pokemon is like the gateway. You start at Pokemon, then you move up to something else. But it is seen as a kid's game, and when you get older, you kind of get away from it. It's just that way. I mean, it's older players. I still play. It's fun. I'm gonna say something that's probably might not be. I don't know. It's not. Anyway, okay. So if I go play with a bunch of kids like you and at the Pokemon thing, right? I'm
Yeah.
older, and I go sit at the table and play with you at the Pokemon. I look a little weird, right?
Yeah.
I would look a little weird, and I would also look a little weird beating 8-year-old in Pokemon, and I'm like, yeah. That's why it is seen as like kids. Even if you're like 16, 17, you're playing with a bunch of little kids, you're like, I don't know. And I can see people get made fun of. But yeah, that's why I play Pokemon with the boys or online. I won't play at the locals.
No.
And that's also what we're talking about right there. Lack of local tournaments. We talked about this already, where it's just play, you pay $5 or something, you go play.
Yeah.
And the last thing, it might get boring for older players.
It might.
It does. I get bored of it a little faster because it's very repetitive. You know kind of what items and the Pokemon and what you do. I know that you can still get a plan for your opponent's deck, but it's not as challenging, I think, as Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh. I think those two are more challenging than Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's what I have. That's all I got. You got anything to add? Take away?
No.
Okay. Out of these three, what would you recommend?
For newer people trying to get TCG, Pokemon.
Not newer people.
Oh, okay. Well,
If your friend wanted to play a TCG, what would you say to play? If
Pokemon or Magic, one of those two.
Pokemon or Magic. Okay. See, that's what he's going. My first answer will always be Yu-Gi-Oh. I love Yu-Gi-Oh, so I'm always gonna say that. But after I said Yu-Gi-Oh and explained to them how the state of the game, then I would say, okay, if you're first new, start out with Pokemon. Learn some TCG, couldn't even talk. Learn that, and then you can get into some of the other ones and go explore. But I would say get in all three of them. I say try all three of these and see what you like, because chances are you're probably going to start playing all three. I play all three and I like them. And you'll start playing all three. You already play Magic and Pokemon. We're going to get you into Yu-Gi-Oh. We'll build you a deck.
Yeah.
And get you rolling.
Not the expensive deck.
No. No. I just built my Cosmo again. And my Cosmo is only $45.
And it's really fun.
Yes. All right. That's it for me. And until next time, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate all the views, guys. Thank you.